yesterday, last week. Oh my gosh, can't do that. Last week I did catch their VOD there for MVSK, so you know, they played very well. There were some hiccups here and there. They're kind of new to this environment, I will say, so you know, familiarity, just trying to get adjusted to it. But for a team that's newly migrated into a scene like this, they're holding themselves very, very well. So now we get into it. The game is starting, and we're gonna see, you know, these star players really hash it out for the victory here.
Placing alarm bot.
Pistol round, they're already like very heavily stacked outside of the C side. Having the lurk from Starbound on the other side of the map, you already see, and Mask is also postured for kind of like a window, a lobby pinch situation as well. They want to get ahead of it. This could be very dangerous for Starbound unless they're able to get the reaction necessary. But Turret will give away that mid peak though, at the very least.
Kind of initiating some sort of noise over towards C, but playing by yourself with the spike in hand is so incredibly risky. I'm wondering, you know, what the exact play here is. Of course, trying to take space over towards Garage and see if they can migrate themselves over that way. But 4 players already over towards the backhand site. Spooky absolutely destroying and playing alongside the entirety of MVSK. So they play well enough to really make sure that spike doesn't go down. And the spike in their arsenal is going to be so good, especially with St. Claus being incredibly low here.
Waiting for Sober Sushi to get a little bit closer. So much damage has been done on these 2 players.
Silence is key. They have such a good crosshold here that letting it go would not be a good idea. Oh, and the peek through from Fel. I did see what they had going on there. Timing was on their side as well. Now this is what makes it harder. That extra piece of utility to make sure that they have some sort of backup. But MVSK, they play patient.
Really nicely done, just maintaining backside control there. Playing perfectly alongside that mid-site smoke that Carly had thrown down there. The Spooky just being able to get 2 is just massive. With how quickly AXL were trying to flood onto that site. Now, again, very similar start to what we saw from both of these teams in the pistol round. MVSK, round 1, they didn't actually go for that mid and a pinch like it kind of looked like they were posturing up for. Let's see. Time around, likely not going to happen either because they're on that anti-eco. Want to make sure that they don't take too many risks with weapons in hand. Let's see if Spooky's going to be able to hold this ground once again.
Oh. Cage just waiting to be pulled, but I mean, based off that noise, not playing with the utility either, so Spooky has completely set themselves back, just gathered the information for the team to kind of play into that defensive role. The Bandit making noise there for Axolotl, and Starbound, they are following through with a potential victory here for Axolotl. They just really got to keep it together. Of course, you know, really just waiting for this light workaround to be made. The sprays are down. They know that they're there. They're lined up for it. And Sober Sushi manages to take out 2. Stuck in this 2v2 position. There goes Starbound making magic happen. And that's huge. Axolotl, they brought themselves back.
Yeah, winning out their eco against an MVSK that had weapons advantages. We're trying to flood back onto that site, and overall, just really nicely done. That is massive for Axolotl to be able to convert, now forcing MVSK into a bit of an uncomfortable situation. They are still going to purchase up with that Vandal, though, for Fel. Have a hero rifle in hand here for the side of MVSK. Getting a little bit more aggressive this time around over that A side, considering this stack. And they want full control of that A lobby. The deep smoke comes out here as well.
Okay, nice. I do like the shock dart.
I'm out of here.
Eliminating any source of utility that we are seeing set down by Spooky. And the C site, yeah, they've just backed up off of it. Seems like it's reached some level of popularity here for Axolotl, and that repetition might be able to say something.
Spike planted.
Kind of making sure whatever's going on in Garage is going to work out to the best of Axolotl's ability. I like the positioning here. We're kind of seeing them cross-hold. We are playing in a spot where nobody can really see them out of the angle. And headshots are hitting. It's beauty here for Axolotl.
Really nicely held there by Axolotl. I think that, you know, you saw a little bit of the vision of what MVSK were trying to pull off in that scenario. And we saw initially, you know, a bit of a punish from a peek over at default there from Axolotl, but regardless, they had the aim, they had the firepower. There's no way MVSK was going to be able to get out. Now, weapons are actually in hand, right? We have that operator that we know that Fel was kind of gearing up to save for on the side of MVSK. Will be posted up at C long, kind of just gambling that, considering how often Axolotl have visited that side of the map. Instead, will be the A hit. And you also have the attacking sided operator here for Starbound on the Killjoy. No surprise.
You're dead.
Trying to eliminate as much noise as possible here. I mean, over on the A site, especially now with some sort of entry coming through from Axolotl. Not a lot of utility, though, kind of pushed through. Miara's really just running it down and hoping for the best. So 2 players down, and MVSK, they just have to figure out a way to get back onto site.
Deploying drone.
With the paranoia, it does get that much harder, though. You maybe have a curveball, but only really hits one angle if you're trying to push out of CT. And with that operator in hand, it is going to be that save. They can't take the risk with how much they've invested into this with that op and look to lose it. So wanting to carry as many of these rifles over to be as supportive to the sniper as possible into the next round. It does get tough, though. Axolotl, they are cycling up into these ultimates, right? Sure. Australis did just extend that run it back, but you do have the Hunter's Fury that's in hand here for Miara, Sober Sushi as well. But we know how good both of these Sobas can be with that ultimate, especially if it's a scenario where one of them is trying to like trace the other after the one of them ults first and whatnot. So we'll see how that interaction is going.
Yeah, pretty prevalent interactions already. I think Miara, surprisingly enough, playing into a entry Sova role was not at all what I had expected. But I'm liking it. I can definitely see just like the different approaches they're doing here.
Gotta go.
Kicking things off with really quiet mid-presence, but yo, that operator taken out immediately. Well, actually, yeah, taken out immediately. That is really tough. They saved last round, gambling on that op having so much impact, and it gets deleted by Starbound as soon as barriers drop.
It's pretty cool how, not even on the chamber roll, they're just like, okay, I'm playing Killjoy, but I can definitely still op. I'll figure it out as I go. Mid-sight, presence is made there for Axolotl, and there is a slow work up there coming through from Spooky. What worries me is that there's not a lot of attention going over towards the outskirts here, and Sober Sushi utilizing their ultimate to try to get as much damage as possible. But it wasn't the time. You know, now the damage is made, and 1v3. Potential is definitely there, but the op from Starbound's looking scary.
3 seconds on a recon here for Sober Sushi, but such a tall task.
Yeah, one slight peek and you're done.
One of those moments where it's just not even worth it, especially with the fact that, you know, they forced into this round trying to support that operator here as well, and looking to scoop that one back up here for Sober Sushi. So op at the very least does get saved over on the side of MVSK, but again, knowing that Starbound is pulling out that attacking side of the operator, it changes things a lot, right? Fel has to be little... I had to hold my breath for a second there because they're looking to hunt Sober Sushi down. Gets away with the skin of their teeth, but Gompers, back to what I was saying. That makes it that much more daunting for any of those angles to be taken by Fel, knowing that Starbound could be on the other side, either looking to punish or looking to peek into them as well, because we just know how good Starbound is on that operator, is one of the best oppers in Game Changers, and that's definitely, I think, tough to get face checked in that first fight like that.
No, it's intense. I who respects Starbound to really pull out the op? not playing onto that killjoy role. It's not something that, you know, you really prep for. Unfortunately, it's just the harsh reality of it. But Spooky is retaliating. So maybe something good comes through from that. The holds are definitely something that we do need to see. So I'm kind of liking the alt pick. It is a little risky, though, with this weird buy that we do have going on.
Yes, I mean, it was saved, right, by Sober Sushi in the last round.
Yeah.
So I think it's more of a conversation of how they want to use it right now, especially knowing that the rest of the team is going to be on this really awkward buy situation. Trying to really maximize, I think, the value from it. It will go back over towards that A site at the very least, but we're seeing a little bit of a shift now in what this setup is going to be looking like. You have that trip over at B, since we have more players now focusing on the extremities of this map.
Mm-hmm. Just waiting. I'm not quite sure if like peeking out of here is the best bet. I do like the working with the drone to try to catch them off guard, but yeah, Axolotl obviously having a second player there to kind of respond to that.
Hey.
Walking down now. Carly, this timing could be so good for Carly and Spooky. It doesn't matter, St. Claus is still gonna get away. Look at the way they flipped that. A great reaction here from Axolotl to chase these players down long.
It does give them a bit more room to plan around towards C. And that's a great pick off Carly, so they know the smokes are gone. Spooky's following up with it. 3K to really keep Axolotl, honestly, with their head held high. Yeah, just having to save at this point.
Yeah, tough situation here. Again, I mean, how many? This is what, 3 rounds in a row now that operator has been saved here for MVSK. Really not looking to have that impact that we're looking for. And again, I mean, in this round, this is not on Fel, right? Like, they were on the complete opposite side of the map from where Axolotl was looking to hit. But it does kind of leave some questions that were begging to be answered, right, Gompers? Because how we're playing a little bit more tough on one side of the map, obviously, is not working out well. Somehow, the operator is still getting saved into this round after that. The gambles just haven't been there for the operator, or even if it's not there for the operator, right? You're kind of hoping that the op is posted on a line that's going to give you enough information to pivot around the map, so that even if no one's walking into the scope, it gives you that just like positioned information. And MVSK are still not able to find the answers on how to capitalize on that. Ooh.
Now was a pretty good time to see what the op could do, especially with everybody here positioned over towards A for Axolotl. So that's going to be a really good push back, missing out on that neon play. Australis doesn't have the ult, so a bit of precaution. Getting themselves onto the site. The spike goes in first, unfortunately, so now it goes down. Miara and Fel taking Australis and Starbound's life with them. At this point, A site is not looking good. And the op, it's made its due diligence. It's applied that pressure that we really needed to see here.
Definitely has one smoke now up for St. Claus, a shrouded step out towards short, but this is tough. 2 players on the side of MVSK also grouped together, Logic and Carly over at long. Impossible here for St. Claus to get away with this one, and an important round for MVSK to take away. Like, this was a must-need round for them in this half, right? They've been saving this operator so many times now. They're back into a buy situation. They could not afford it to lose that one, so huge to walk away with that retake.
Yeah, that was honestly such a good play. I mean, Fel was definitely itching for some sort of pick. At some point, you kind of got to reassess, is it worth it, you know, to have that op. So I do like the proactivity that we're seeing here, especially now the migration over towards C.
Yeah, certainly. And you've also got that, like, extra insurance as well. If they want to try and chase Fel down with that operator, there's still the trips being held there as well to allow that safe fallback.
I'm out of here.
You've just got on the other side of the map, Axolotl. They're trying to sell this fake over at that A site simply from Terra's presence.
Nowhere to run!
Completely baited out that. The dash, unfortunately. And it does seem like Axolotl are going to make their first hand pick over towards the A site. That's going to feel good. The op is not really an issue right now. They haven't lost anybody, so the player advantage is there.
Yeah, it definitely is. I love this take from Axolotl. You got the plant going down here as well, having that run it back now online for Astralis into the post plant if they really need it. Top of that, Starbound also working in that late wrap.
So having Bladestorm, worst case scenario, if we're not really feeling the off in this very moment, but is Starbound, I mean, losing out on 3 players already off that flank, and timing alone is brutal.
And that's a hole that you have to be aware of in this situation. They invested both of those trips onto the C site that operator was holding. And there was that heads up understanding of, okay, there could be someone walking through B. I think we did originally see Cartley. Looking back, MVSK, they did know. But the timing was so good, and that hole was forgotten about as MVSK was trying to actually flood onto the site. Great post-plant stall from the rest of the team of Axolotl, so that Starbound could actually get that timing down pat. But a huge head-to-head battle that we're about to see here, potentially in long. Or see long, sorry.
Oops. Taken down. Unfortunately so, Axolotl really rushing in, and this time utilizing as much utility as they can to gain enough ground to move themselves over towards the back end side, so not too preoccupied about those extremities. They've got it. That was such good teamwork to make sure they were playing together to isolate those refrags here.
Both players on that flank now here for MVSK.
One enemy remaining.
I would technically say it's over. I mean, with 8 health left here for Logic, it's a very, very hard 1v3, 1v4 to win a battle unless you do something crazy. But no, round win, timing, not really on their side here.
I'll make them remember they're only human.
Okay. MVSK. The operator back into the hands here of Fel. We have on the side of Axolotl. Lockdown up, run it back here as well. Unfortunately, no Hunter's Fury is available now for Sober Sushi to look to counter that on top of that, which is why we're seeing this very aggressive lean outside of A from the side of Axolotl. But actually, it will be that contention here from long, but not contesting short where you're expecting it to go down. It doesn't even matter.
Joke's over! You're dead!
No, and that's not okay. Inside of the smoke, Fel having honestly an advantage with that. Of course, doesn't matter at the end of the day, especially with Australis chasing you down off of the site. A site not looking too good in regards to retake here for MVSK. There is an ultimate that we can see that run it back.
Going up! Come on, let's go!
I mean, now we're gonna be able to see that pop out, see exactly what it can do. Unfortunately, it does get shut down, so it stops the entry for a couple seconds. Sober Sushi looking to make some information work, but underneath in hell, you know, they have this cross and the R is able to hold, but Logic is running it down. Didn't even need to run it back, and at this point, with the lockdown, it might just give them something to work with. They know exactly where Logic has to be to make sure that they were not detained. And all they need to do is wait. Play with the op, make the shot happen! And Logic is the one to take the round away.
A huge round win here for MVSK. Logic being able to win this one out for their squad. Absolutely massive. That is tough. Now that operator also gets to get thrown back into the hands of Fel here as well. Insane retake there from MVSK with the adjustments, those investments of like the ultimates there as well. Overall, just crazy. On top of that, girl, Logic is like one away from the run it back again too.
Yeah.
Like, it just insane.
Oh my gosh. And that's not good because you just had to run it back. It obviously posed a bit of a threat to you and the entire team, and now you're going to be able to see it again. So Logic does get taken down early. That's going to be a blessing in disguise here coming through from Axolotl. Now on the attack, they already have the A side.
Yeah. Axolotl really banking on the fact that MVSK wouldn't expect that quick burst towards A once again. 4v3 into the post plant. If you look at the utility that we have to work here with as well for Axolotl and the positioning, it's going to be really hard for these two players on MVSK to look to break back in despite the paranoia.
Revealing area.
Yeah, don't have a good turnaround rate when they don't have the player advantage here for MVSK. 3 rounds of which they've won. It's a larger amount of players on the board here. Spooky's just trying to keep that off alive, but cannot do it. So the round win over to Axolotl again. And this being the last round is a bit scary. You know, 8-3, it's not favorable. But we'll see.
Yeah, definitely not. Tough here for MVSK on their map pick, that is for certain. Axolotl also, they do have a run it back to work with. Granted, MVSK, even though they don't have the best buy, they have some really impactful ultimates into this round. And again, we've seen how good Sober Sushi can be at ensuring that value is garnered from that Hunter's Fury in the past. Logic as well, we just saw what they were able to do on that A site.
Oof. Brought down in a matter of seconds, not able to use any of your smokes here. And that's not good, right? We know that this is the last round of this half, already missing out on a very, very important piece of the puzzle here is not good, and getting zoned out of your own location. Of course, Hunter's Fury is doing the work here, but a bit too late. Not a lot of damage, yeah, absolutely insane. Just a flawless round coming through from Axolotl.
Really nicely done here from Axolotl. And on the map pick of MVSK, again, like we mentioned beforehand, switching sides now. And for the side of MVSK, this is where I kind of wonder, okay, we might see them come alive a little bit more, right? An opportunity for Fel and Logic to control that tempo a little bit, as opposed to being a bit more at the whims of Axolotl, who were in that driver's seat, definitely on that attacking side. So it could definitely be the difference maker, especially with how aggressive, I guess, we also know that these two duelist players can definitely be. They're leading outside of a C site that's honestly looking pretty light when it comes down to that stall ability at the moment, so.
Gonna see it. I mean, even then, moving over towards the C site, there is a bit of room here for Storebound to wait for this team to make that flank happen. But Spooky, this is a bit scary. With in due timing, I think Spooky could most definitely catch this flank around and make it almost impossible for this team to get this retake in. But timing is of the essence here. Already moving in towards the B site, being way too late. Axolotl making havoc on the C site and moving in as they please. So the drone opening things up even more. Of course, there's a couple, at least one more flash that we can utilize here from Australis, and that they will do. The headshots coming through. Axolotl working together, and St. Claus looking for the last pick to come through on Spooky. And there it will be. So 10-3 here for Axolotl.
Nice pistol round picked up here from Axolotl. Gompers, I like what MVSK were doing though. Like the way they reacted to Spooky's information on that flank. Spooky fully tucks back in attacker side spawn, has that long trip as well. So there's a full understanding from Musk that the entirety of Axolotl, who was on that flank, which was about like 3 players, I believe, is moving through mid. They're gonna look to retake through like garage / CT, and the reaction for MVSK is to push into CT. They want to take control of one of those lanes, ensure that there isn't that opportunity for Axolotl to try and swarm. But the heroics out from just the pure firepower of Axolotl, really nicely done. Now though, their backs being up against the wall, I'm actually a little bit surprised not to see the buy up happening here for MVSK. And with Sober Sushi going down so early, this slows things down even more on this eco round, Gompers, when you think about the lack of information they now have to really work with from the initiator.
That's gonna damage things a bit. I mean, if there was chance before, it definitely diminished. Losing out on all that information utility, like you said. So, I mean, kind of just waiting, right? One pick is all it really takes. And and fell really close to it with that information. It does stall a bit over towards B, so it gives leeway to A, allows them to feel a bit more confident moving over, though losing 2 players upon the entry does not make it any easier to swallow that pill.
Flash.
Really about trying to find like a pick. Otherwise, there isn't much to be said in this round here for MVSK.
30
any
seconds
longer.
left. Last player standing. Spike down
That
A.
as well. That was just one away from getting that run it back online. They're looking to feed Fell to her. That is a flawless round will come through. Gompers, we're 11-3 on MVSK's map pick here. One away from match point. MVSK, they save so they can try and battle and keep match point honestly away for as long as possible into this one. But now you're heading up against a very healthy bonus from Axolotl with a run it back in Australis' pocket as well.
Yeah, there isn't much worry for them. They're not like, they don't have the same weaponry, but just having that run it back alone is so huge for this team. And it gives them essentially like an extra life. So, I mean, information given away, of course, they're not going to act on that just yet. This team is very, very prevalent for switching up sites.
Grown-up's not going to find anything here for MVSK. Yara more than happy to fall back and off of this site. Knowing that they have that run it back available for that protocol on the side of Axolotl. Not wanting to take any risk of anybody looking to fall early. Trying to play that numbers advantage as much as possible with those trades.
That's done.
Patience is key here. Maybe just a bit too much. They do have the A site, which is great for MVSK. But if we're looking at it, we
Spike
still do have that run it back. Very, very, very scary.
And with Spooky down now too. Look at 3 players on the flank and MVSK, they don't know.
Now, and oh, I like that. Okay, the pre-fire into spawn is actually beautiful. So they did completely shut that down. Terror is, I mean, really just sandwiching this team in, and teamwork makes the dream work at the end of the day, right? 3K coming through from Starbound. That, in reality, was just, that was just awesome. I don't know.
It was really nicely played there by Axolotl. The understanding of, okay, now that you've got the Cypher out of the picture, you don't have to worry about Spooky anymore. Let's activate 3 people on that flank. We're going to have the distraction of the retake coming in from Australis with the run it back through CT. And with that ultimate going out, that's when we're going to make our move for our flank players to work up. And it was just very perfectly executed on that crunch. Now, final rounds here, potentially, for the side of Axolotl to get in the bag before we can take this map home for them. And for MVSK, we have a Hunter's Fury to work into this round somehow, and one away from that run it back for Logic as well.
Joke's over! You're dead!
Pretty quick entry onto site. A huge shutdown through from Terror, though. Knowing that Fell was going to do just that. The updraft and dash in.
I mean, they got played down, but they barely have control of this site. They don't even have backside control. This is so awkward.
Oh, and they just droned it off, too. So now it's there. You literally can't take it back. And Starbound has the front end, making sure to give away to the information. Axolotl, they've won it out. It was honestly clever, the way that they were playing. It's unfortunate, too, because positioning there for MVSK, they didn't utilize their time too wisely, but for the showing, I was honestly incredibly impressed. 13-3 definitely isn't the way a team wants to go, though. Unfortunately, good sign, especially with the raise that we're seeing from Terror, to be honest. I will say it's a bit scary. As long as we play pretty synergistic here, which I don't think Axolotl struggles with, if I'm being completely honest with you, so I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing, you know, with this difference in composition, we're seeing a different Sentinel here for MVSK, starting off on the attack, which was pretty, I guess we'll see. We'll see how exactly that's going to play out for them.
Yeah, it's definitely always kind of interesting here for Mask Secret as well, because for this squad, even though the core did qualify through closed qualifiers together, there's only 3 of those core members that actually stuck onto this team heading into the main event. Silver Sushi and Carly being the 2 new additions. So it's also been some adjustments for this squad as well, right? Kind of adjusting to those protocols. So look how Fel is already in Waterfall, taking out 2 players, anchoring down that seaside.
Oh, that was awesome. Exactly what we would need to see. There's that level of aggression that you can't do anything about in reality if you're Axolotl there. So, really, really good start to this pistol round. Now just gonna have to keep the post plant. We do have player advantage, especially with Logic working themselves around the back. Very, very sneaky. And nobody knows. This is dangerous though. Timing is of the essence. Axolotl slowly making way, and Logic is a little too late. So the work that Fel has put into this round might have just gone to waste. Doesn't even know where the spike is. Unfortunately, now Australia's following up, and the defusal's theirs.
Really nicely done here from Axolotl. That is insane when you think about how this round started, right? Like, you have Fel literally in Waterfall, running up on the 2 players that were anchoring that seaside between Starbound and St. Claus. And then Axolotl are able to find the retake down 2 players at the beginning of the round. Like, just absolutely insane stuff to come through there. Great value from Miara as well. Like, that impact was just crazy to see.
I'm seeing potential though. You know, a huge aggression from Fel that I didn't really get too much of last game playing onto that jet. Seeming as Neon is a bit more comfortable here on the Lotus map, but information comes through. They know nobody's outside of that smoke here on the defense.
It's a question of what the plan is here for Mask as well. We have that spike traversing into tree. Fel is gonna fall as well. But the lurk is still on the other side of the map here. Poor Spooky. I don't know if Spooky's just trying to keep some attention from Axolotl on the seaside, but no. 55 seconds left. It will be that walk away. Spooky getting that timing here on Starbound.
Oh. And not securing that kill is dangerous. Because now you can't even really work yourself onto site as flawlessly as you would have liked. So you have to work with the team here, especially now with that rotation and information given away. Axolotl playing with time.
Going even further back with that haunt that comes out, right? But look at Axolotl again, flipping things around, opening this door, retaking from main.
Yeah, that's dangerous. Vulnerability set down on Logic, but Logic, luckily enough, actually makes a shot. So just a bloodbath over towards the seaside. The defusal is pretty much donezo, because at this point they have every single angle covered, and there is no rush.
No, there really isn't. I think that what we're seeing right now is kind of some of the concerns that we had heading into this map of Lotus, right, Gompers?
Yeah.
These 3 site maps, while Lotus and Haven are very different in the sense that Lotus, I think, has some faster rotations because you have like those rotating doors, so we're you have breakable door. It is a bit of a the pathing is very different compared to Haven, but you also have like really big high risk reward balance between that map control and when you're reacting to take space back. And from what we saw in Haven, Axolotl were so good at that. It leaves me really worried here for MVSK to start things out, and I want to be convinced by a strong anti-eco round to come in here for round 3 here for Mask.
I'm gonna need something incredibly strong. I do like the synergy we're seeing. Playing together is key in all reality. You know, you have so much to work with here. The worst thing you can do is not play together. Now I'm rotating over towards the site. St. Claus in such a good position to really hold this push back. There it goes.
Oh, they heard that step from Charlie.
Oh, and just sitting back. That's so unfortunate. Starbound does manage to take one. And that is going to be Fel. So Fel isn't able to really work themselves over towards Waterfall, clear up the entirety of backside. And this is bad. MVSK have a bad habit at leaving 50% of the site over to Axolotl. That's why they get sites so freely, but I'm kind of liking this high-low, maybe playing a bit too together here. Starbound stuck in this 1v2, but this is good. I mean, the best case scenario that could have happened for this team here of MVSK. Just diminishing these numbers. Not a lot of utility to work with, so they're just going to have to find a way. Move over towards the backhand side. They don't have a lot of time to be dealing with here. Yep, and Spooky clears it.
A much needed round win here for MVSK. They had to win that one there for round 3. I think also just, honestly, to get a little bit of that momentum back from Haven as well. Want to make that one clean. Unfortunately, did drop a couple more weapons than they would have liked, but strong start regardless. And for the side of Axolotl, think back to like what we were talking about before. They react so quickly, and I want to see Mask now being able to make those adjustments to react to the same or similar kind of degree as Axolotl. Now that they've also gotten a bit of a taste of the style of play here for Axolotl from that map of Haven as well, and some of those adjustments and tendencies are something that could definitely be translated into a second map if you're really into it.
At this point, they really need it. Having to recover from an unfortunate loss. Momentum slightly lost. But slowly regaining it back here. An ultimate readily available. We do have that Nightfall. And be utilized. A bit dangerous though, because Terror sitting over towards the C site. They're not making any proactive moves just yet. Now the Nightfall comes through and Spooky clears it. This is a beautiful take onto the B site.
Great crunch here. And then you also have that Flood coming in, right? Now, when you're looking at the fact that Terror has an operator in hand, this retake does get a little bit uncomfortable without any support on that C side of the map. Terror's really going to have to rely on these A players to make an impact, and it doesn't matter when Logic is just standing there watching the angle, not allowing them to pass.
One enemy remaining.
I really like the Logic lurk. It is working tremendously. The control over sites and just like outside of sight is insane. So hopefully we do kind of continue on with that, because the aim is crazy. It's not like these players aren't mechanically good. You know, you can kind of see them slowly starting to just gain their ground a little bit.
And again, like those slow adjustments, right? Kind of again leading into their opponents' general tendencies of like individual tendencies as well as team tendencies, right? And getting an idea of like the identity of this Axolotl roster. Well, just had that impact on those lurking plays. This time we'll be playing with the pack though. Axolotl want to face them head on this eco round. Are going to be looking for that set play to fight into this Ruffle control with Seasoning.
They're trying to just work themselves up. This is different though, you know, it's not the same sort of slower pace play that we got to see from MVSK. The early information given away, Axolotl just trying to play with the save round that they've been given. And it's not working out in favor for them, but this is good, right? To slowly gain some ground, some numbers. Actually, never mind. I spoke a little bit too soon. Getting everyone down, just Miara, and looking for another. The teamwork is there, and so is the Thrifty.
How do they keep doing it? Like a Thrifty round there for Axolotl. Miara being such a hero. Kind of taking us back to that 3K that we saw in the first couple of rounds of this map earlier on that pistol round. Really nicely done. That is honestly like crazy. I feel like we went from like the low of the Australis whiff, which is, you know, I don't like that gun either. It is all good. We have those moments with the Bandit. Into the Miara 3, that like, it's just an insane ride that we went on for round 5. But kicking things off, Overdrive going to be popped here from Fel, and unfortunately, also seeing that Overdrive tick away because that wall went out.
Oh my gosh, what do they even do at this point? That's like that completely stripped away. The ego's gone. The slight fear now rising in the eyes of MVSK. And maybe, just maybe, they'll be able to slowly sneak themselves over on the B or the A site, but C is definitely not the play here.
Yeah, but this is really awkward now. Unless someone is planning on tossing a gun over to Fell, I like this re-clear here from AXL. It's not even gonna get Spooky. I mean, Spooky's going down regardless. There's 3 players. But how did we evade that rocket enough to survive is the question that I have on the tip of my tongue. Regardless, A site has been taken here by Mask. However, will logic on these lurks again be sought out? You called them out for these positions before and what they've been able to pull off for the team.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, well the ult's gone. It's not like we can really use the showstopper to get themselves onto site, but this is beautiful. Unfortunately, unable to use their weapon. Carly does go down, but everybody here on Axolotl's utilizing it to their advantage and knowing exactly where these players have been zoned out. So that's going to be a huge clutch up coming through from, I mean, just the utility Starbound set.
And I like this adjustment here from Axolotl, the recognition of, okay, the first couple of rounds we won, it was through those retakes, the flood retakes working really nicely for them. Now kind of going back into that instead of going for something like the early fights that we had seen previously that didn't necessarily pan out as well. Definitely tough. I think also pretty heartbreaking there for Fel not to even like have a weapon into the post plant either. A bit of a miscalculation with the overdrive being popped before that wall was triggered for sure.
I mean, there's some geometry going over on A and B. C is completely cleared up. Other than the orb being set down and maybe a couple of utility here and there. But I mean, we've seen Fel kind of rush by that. Migration over towards B, though.
Migration over towards B. Look at where Miara is.
It's wraps. I don't know, like, Spooky's definitely...
What? No, that's so crazy. What is this timing? I don't like it.
Oh, okay. I mean, still a little scary. It does give away the location, but this is so gorgeous. The util was insane. The follow-up was amazing, but nobody was there to assist with it.
No, that paranoia was perfect too. If they were a little bit closer on the fight for B main, different story, but Terror still finds the punish on logic at the very least. That lurk no longer a concern here for Axolotl.
Oh, I'm surprised that actually didn't catch on Starbound's location. They were kind of just maybe sitting inside of the smoke, and that's why. I'm just looking to see if they can get any more shots down. They are absolutely doing that. And at 2K to allow Terror to get their one is beautiful. So 5-2, but you know, despite the 5-2, Ash, I think what's concerning me is just the way they're doing it. It feels almost flawless.
It really does. It's like, even when you see Axolotl getting punished for something like Miara in that situation, sure, like the utility was good and stuff like that, but they were on an island, realistically, right? Able to get the one on Spooky, but not much else. And it says so much about how Axolotl are able to even like walk away from those situations. Yes, it was even after that fight, but for Terra to be like, you know what, I'm going back for another, I'm gonna check for another one really quick. It's just the decision making. I think also the synergy, the way they trade each other out looks a lot more natural, it feels like, compared to Mask, where it does feel like some of like those timing, some of those trades aren't quite on the ball today, at the very least.
I'm gonna have to agree with you. Timing, definitely. I mean, there's like these moments where everything clicks so perfectly for this team, but I don't know. Axolotl, they're just so consistent with it, and that really is what just drags you along at the end of the day to win these games, to win these series, right? Is that consistency that we're seeing come through from Axolotl. So they're not even on the side that I think suits them best either. I really do think their attacking half looks phenomenal on this map. So maybe we're just gonna have to wait and see how that's gonna play out now, starting back on through. Maybe MVSK has a new plan to really follow through here. Does seem like aggression is not one of them.
I like the discipline from Terra, though, actually falling off of that angle once the smoke goes down, knowing that they were alone in a 1vx situation. Frat play with the paranoia.
Oh, beautiful headshots though.
Look at this clear up here. Axolotl, they fully walked out, cleared out mound. A nice jump spot from Carly to get that information, though, here for Mask.
Thorns down.
And that's gotta be a little scary. Two players moving up on A. Best thing you can do is go B, and I do like this call, but there is potential for a quick rotation towards doors. I mean, there's only... Spooky is separating themselves to try to fight this 1v1, but is that clever? Maybe it is actually. Oh no, they didn't even clear the angle. Didn't know what was going on. The sandwich comes in and a huge flawless round here for Axolotl.
I am scratching my head a little bit after that one. I cannot lie, because we just saw them group up to clear mound and then
Yeah.
not clear mound, and back to you, Gompers.
Honestly, that was the best analysis that we were gonna get. I'm not gonna lie, because that's so true and real. Like, if they had cleared that, it would have been game. They would have won. So, I mean, I have to completely and fully agree with you. It sucks, but it's like lessons learned, I'd say, for sure. They have such a good call too. I do feel like every single movement they're making is the right one. It's just unfortunate they're not looking at these angles that are so open towards them, and then they get punished for it. So Fel's just gonna have to find a way to try to get one, potentially a second. St. Claus shuts it down though, and Axolotl again in such a good position when it comes to this player advantage here.
Yeah, Spike's down over at mound too. All about trying to find some opportunities, thread the needle. It doesn't matter, because I mean, every angle is going to be watched. Starbound is so aware of it. Logic doesn't even have a shot. Spooky in a 1v4? Sure. Maybe you'll be able to get that spike picked up, but you're still dealing, at the end of the day, with 4 players on the side of Axolotl if you want to get that spike down in round 1. There's a nice call there from Spooky, trying to bypass that spike, not give the information to St. Claus on the angle. St. Claus still gonna come out on top though. And that operator recovered here for Axolotl. Tough for Mask. Got a couple rounds there at the beginning, but ever since weapons were fully in play here for the side of Axolotl, it's been very difficult for Mask to find any answers.
I'm wondering. I'm really wanting. I liked the logic lurks that we were seeing. It is kind of a shame. Like I don't feel like we've been getting that too proactive. It feels like they think playing as a group is going to give them something a little more. But you know, playing into this slight default to gather that information, unfortunately, doesn't play in their hands either, right? So just getting taken down is unfortunate.
Here. Toxin screen down.
I do think it is Mask trying to play some of the conditioning that they did previously, because you had Sober Sushi on the other side of the map trying to get some information on that C side, apply that pressure with the one-way as well. But Australis now perfect paranoia to be able to buy a little bit more time, save her life.
Getting themselves out of the way to see if they can just figure something out. The noise is there, the information is there, just looking for one, but they stay too long and they funnel themselves in these positions that are already clear to Axolotl, right? There's not much repositioning going on. And then it leaves them in a spot where they just are waiting, like sitting ducks for this team to make a move.
Yeah, very controlled map here for the side of Axolotl.
30 seconds left.
30 seconds on the clock. Yeah, you will see the spike to go down here on that B site. If it does, Viper's Pit is up. You do have a Nightfall here as well for Sober Sushi. I wasn't 100% sure if honestly we were going to see that commitment of the ultimates being used, but this is such an important fight here in B main.
Last player standing.
Viper's Pit is up, which in essence, you know, was a good idea to at least gather some space, but they hadn't gotten any picks to really allow themselves that room to kind of dominate. So unfortunate round win though. 8-2 is a bit dangerous in regards to what that win streak is looking like though.
Yeah, definitely tough in that regard. I like hesitated because I just wasn't sure if any of those ults were going to be popped, but the pip going up, I think it's tough because planting in well there, it was awkward for Logic to find a Viper's Pit that would have covered that spike and also blocked one of the extremities for the retake. 2v4, I think, is one of those situations where even if you have Viper's Pit, if the team is swarming you, there's just not too much you can do.
There wasn't a lot of conditioning actually, now that I realize it here over towards the A site. There was like that occasional push and pull, but there wasn't that consistency, which, man, the wall goes down and Logic's the only one standing, not knowing that the op is there. Axolotl just allowing Starbound to continue to flourish under this pressure, and it doesn't even matter with the paranoia there. Spooky goes down as well. Maybe not. Hey, you know what? I was gonna say I believe, but you know what? Maybe I shouldn't have, because now I cursed.
But you didn't, and it's okay. So
okay, you're right. You're right.
we're clean. We don't need to. You don't need to air it out right now. We're all good. 9-2 though here for Axolotl and Mask. I think it's tough, Gompers. It is really tough right now. They are being outgunned here by Axolotl, and even to touch on like the lurking point that you made earlier, I feel like that last round illustrated why we kind of saw a pause on the lurks there for Logic, right? With the operator in play, it does make it a little bit more uncomfortable. It does make it a bit more daunting to do so. And with the Viper's Pit out on that seaside right now as well, it's a bit of a pick your poison situation here because they want to get past that pit. Look at how many players are posted up.
And I love this ultimate. Positioned so well too. To really just back everybody off of C. So they have attention on A, attention on B. I mean, there's not really going to be a migration over towards the C side unless we do see something crazy come through from Spooky here. Still sitting over there.
Yeah, just trying to maintain that presence. Knowing that there is going to be that operator over at A since C has been preoccupied with that Viper's Pit. And with the toxic screen, yes, there definitely is a chance. You have this walkover here from Mask, right? They can get into that tree position. They can get poised for a pop here into short as well.
And at this point, they have to know they're moving here because that wall hasn't been brought up at all until this moment. So it's just a telltale sign as to what Axolotl need to put their attention to. But even then, trying to migrate over to the B site, there's so many players watching, and it's a bad call. They have no idea that A is actually cleared, and Logic is left by their lonesome looking for something, and that they will not get.
Team ace there for Axolotl to get that 10-2 half on their map pick. And Gompers, I think on top of that too, like that was a really nicely played round to close things out there for Axolotl. Like ripping the Steel Garden for Starbound on that B site, they were completely denying that opportunity for Mask to comfortably pivot to B as well into some sort of like crunch. And we're so aware of that, and it left Mask with no options left. You talked about their attacking side being a lot more comfortable from what you saw. And I do think, like, you know, they get the opportunity to control, like... Well, hold on. Now it's my turn to take back something that I said, Gompers. Because that was the last half. Axolotl, this is a squad where they've been on fire all series long. Not too concerned about their attacking half. It did also look good last time we saw it too.
We're just a bunch of haters. We're like, hey. Actually, I feel like we're a bunch of lovers because we're absolutely loving the playstyle that we're seeing come through from Axolotl. Oh my gosh, guys, if I speak, the opposite happens. What playstyle was there? That's unfortunate. Big recovery, though. We're gonna love to see that one. You know, all they have to do now is just continue to hit their shots, try to get themselves over towards that A site and see what they can do. So there it comes, Spooky absolutely dominating in the backhand side. But even then, when that potential for that refrag comes through, Sober Sushi goes down as well. So it's unfortunate.
Definitely is. Fell left in a 1v3 scenario here. Sheriff in hand. I mean, we know what the GC Sheriff can do, but these AXL players have not let off the gas whatsoever. With a shot like that, might be enough to get it started though, Gompers.
I will say, Fell is insane with the aim. We've been seeing a lot of key moments here from this player, and I'm hoping we get to see it again. You know what? From now on, I feel like I should say the opposite, because that is unfortunate. Although it was a valiant effort here for MVSK, that was the pistol round. It is unfortunate they didn't win it, but, you know, we just have to go next.
It do be like that sometimes. The force up's gonna come through here for the side of Mask, though. At the very least, we're gonna see the Stinger buy coming in. Sheriff on the hands of Fell. And kind of gambling the stack over at that C side at the moment. Looking at... Actually, I initially thought it was going to be posted up into a crossfire, but they're looking actually to try and bait into the Bucky, waiting on the other side of the strip point.
St. Claus making some presence over towards A, just trying to keep the noise, the panic. Oh no, the information too, but that's okay. And despite that, just keeping the attention on A. There it goes. Big entry in. Fell is waiting. Oh yeah, that's gonna feel good. That's exactly what we needed too. There was a slow recollection though coming through from Axolotl, which is gonna be quite unfortunate.
I was so locked in on what was happening on C, I wasn't paying attention to the minimap and seeing, like, I'm trying to understand how Starbound was, like, all the way past Rebel. And then you had the crunch happening somehow there as well. But punishing those players here for Axolotl. The walkout from Fell is going to be punished here as well.
Oh, and they didn't hear that drop, so Starbound's not covered.
Player
Oh,
standing.
actually, they are absolutely covered. I didn't even notice that there were two people watching that angle, and that's brilliant. They're just so ahead of the game when it comes to stuff like that. Their post plant definitely looking really good, and it worries me for this round because you know economy's good. You do have that hero rifle from St. Claus.
Now we wait.
Yeah, you do have the hero rifle here for St. Claus, and as much, even though like St. Claus might only be 8-8 right now, I feel like every single time we see picks going out for them, there's always so much impact, for sure. And this is definitely tough, I think. Mask, very broken by going into this, trying to get a little bit aggressive here outside of A as well. And holding this close angle at the very least with the Bucky, but they want to go further with how that Prowler is waiting for them all to get down.
Oh no. At least one downed, but there's so much potential for refrags here. And now Sober Sushi's left alone, so they feel almost desperate to get one. And in this moment, you don't really have a lot to buy with, so it's unfortunate that you lost out on so many lives and you try to play the getter to really pull something through, but even that doesn't work. So Mask, they have to find a way to keep themselves in the game. Right, you're stuck in this 2v4, you hear the door go, beautiful shots made, this is it, potential is there, allowing each other the assist, Mask, they might just keep themselves in the game, and the information is given away, they know to peek together, they know to play together, and they are still in it.
Huge heroics for Mask to keep themselves here in Lotus. A third round on the board for themselves, and a huge adjustment to be made. But Gompers, they still have so much more to do to keep themselves into this game. But Logic, you've shouted them out the entirety of this series thus far. The impact that Logic has had for this team. Being able to anchor that backside space to allow that flood to come through is absolutely massive. It's a question now of whether or not they can get another round here on the defense.
They need it. Oh, he fell in maybe just a bit too much confidence leading forward to that, but they were desperate for that pick, knowing that this was just the round they needed. To be honest, there's not a lot of buys that they could utilize in this moment, doing their absolute best with the Bulldogs and Guardians they have.
They've done so much damage too, just through the sprays and through smoke. Sober Sushi and Carly taking so many pot shots from that.
All it takes is one. You know, they've kind of scared Axolotl a bit into this very passive play over towards A, waiting for the information. And there's also a lure coming along, so this could be prioritized in favor of Mask. Unfortunately, maybe not, especially now with majority of the players down, and that wall is going to be tripped, so Spooky's location is given away.
Planted.
So all they can really do is just try to take things one at a time, isolate the spikes, especially with this plant going down. But a flawless round now just leading over to Axolotls, and it's just going to be that 2-0, 13-3, back-to-back for this team.
Incredibly well played here by Axolotl. I think expectations, right, heading into this matchup was that Mask Secret was definitely the underdog heading into this. But Axolotl, I think we really saw how they were coming together as a squad here on both Lotus and Haven. And overall, I feel like that was a really heartbreaking loss for Mask, especially that last round, Gompers. There was a world where they honestly could have won it. You know, you have these players stacked on that A site, and unfortunately for the side of Mask Secret, it wasn't quite enough. I'm so excited to see how Axolotl is going to continue to like grow throughout this event.
Yeah.
When they're kicking things off with such a strong stride.